Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Dylan Silver, and today's guest is the founder of staffingcareerfromhome.com and catalystssolutionsuniversity.com, and the creator of Instant Construction Crews and Skilled Labor Subhub.com. A true industry guru, he's built a powerful, skilled labor agency connecting thousands across the construction world. He's also a devoted father, mentor, and CEO. Please welcome Coach LB. LB, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Dylan. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. We started off before hopping on here by talking about I'm a little jealous you're in Florida.
Yeah. Florida's it's definitely the place to be. I'm from Nashville, so the trend is that like the California people move to Colorado, the Colorado people move to Nashville, and the Nashville people move to Florida. That's how it's working. Everyone's working this way. So
Nashville's a beautiful place. We've been there for one day when I drove from Massachusetts down to Texas, and I said, "Wow, what a nice city!" And I'm from East Coast, so that's still East Coast-ish, right? And then you wouldn't say so?
No, central, very central, but almost in the dead center. If you need to be surrounded by land, that's kind of the place.
It's interesting. I lose sight of everything that's east of Texas is now East Coast.
Yeah.
I've lost sight of I tell people if it's Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, there's a lot of competition between that tri-state area when you're
100%.
over there. But then you come over here and it's like, oh my gosh, another one of us. Like it's so good to see a fellow brother over here. So let's pivot a bit here, LB. So let's talk about how you got into the real estate space.
Sure. So I actually found myself looking for a career change really probably around 2014. And I actually didn't stumble directly onto real estate. I stumbled into construction. I guess construction staffing would be the word. It's probably more like labor brokering than anything, but that's how I got into it. And with really no general interest in construction, I had always had this deep seated, like I'm jealous of you because you're doing really what I've always wanted to do, which is really dive into the wholesale space. I learned about it when, I'm not going to give my age away, but a long time ago. And when I was selling advertising, it kind of turned me on to what wholesaling was. I didn't even think it was real. Like, how do you get involved here with just like, pretty much just assigning projects, or whatnot. And so I never pursued it. It's when I kind of started to deal with construction where my clients were in that space. They're wholesalers, they're flipping, it's not just residential, it's commercial. And something that I think maybe where I'm peaking in as far as opportunity goes is like, land wholesaling, commercial wholesaling, and not just, residential or multifam. So that's kind of how I got involved in it. And dealing with clientele on that end of it, I can see where, where their issues were and are. And part of what my company does is solve that problem with construction labor or skilled labor. And so I see that side of it. And so as a, somebody who's very interested in growing, really it's their own team in wholesale and that in the real estate space, I found myself kind of looking down the barrel of it. Like I'm at a juncture in my career now where I have the time, I have the willingness, I have the resources, and just want to utilize them.
I always tell this to people who are in construction, contractors, so on and so forth. This is the perfect opportunity, because if someone can't accept an offer on a bid for whatever reason, money or time or whatever the case may be, if you have the ability to buy the property or to get it under an assignable contract, it's like, hey, I hear you. Maybe this is out of the price point, or maybe things aren't just lining up. We do have this other option. If you don't want to deal with this headache any longer, we could potentially make a cash offer on the property.
Yep, 100%.
Huge.
I tell my agents this all the time. It's a numbers game with anything, but with wholesale properties especially. I'm driving to school in the mornings with my 15-year-old, and I'm going, this is a thing for you. Like if I were you, this is all I would do. And I'm like, look, you see that right there, that house that you couldn't see because all the trees and it's all grown up. That's your money. That's what you want. And if you can take the mindset that you have to get a certain level of no in order to get the yes, then you're already halfway there. Like if you know that you can make 50,000 on a flip house, then you take that 50,000 divided by 99 no's, and then every time somebody tells you no's, it's actually paying you X amount of dollars to get closer to the person who what you're really looking for is in a position to sell. Whether that be...
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
A divorce, it could be a medical diagnosis, it could be, hey, I inherited this. A lot of people would think it's, okay, that's an asset. They should be happy they inherited this property, this home. A lot of people look at it as a burden. If they're not from the city or the state and they have to tend to this property, whether it's property taxes, maintenance on it, a renter. That's why you'd be surprised at how many people who maybe were married in the course of their lifetime. This was a property that maybe the other spouse maintained, took care of, and then they basically that they passed on, or maybe they whatever, and now it's theirs. It sometimes even it's painful just to be a part of it because it's something they maybe did together, or just the burden again of handling it, or it's very often one of those things where it wasn't them taking care of it. So now like they don't know how to take care of it. So if you are in a wholesaling position and you reach out and you find that one motivated person, sky's the limit.
You just hit on so many great points there, LB. Let's talk about, before you hopped into the distress element of wholesale, you mentioned reprogramming your brain about no. And so as salespeople in general, that's huge. But specifically when you're doing wholesale real estate for yourself, right? Because there's a trap that you could easily fall into, which is like, I'm not getting any further along the path. Yeah. And I've been to conferences, I've networked like crazy. I consider myself a networking junkie. And you can oftentimes trick yourself into thinking, well, especially starting out, well, these people are doing great and I don't have a deal and this is frustrating. Once you get that first deal, that proof of concept, your mind is like blown. You're like, oh my gosh, I can do this. And then you really do start to see the no's as like, okay, one step in the right direction, or maybe I can redirect here. Maybe I should do this instead of this. Okay, I'm doing a lot of cold calls. I'm getting some traction with that. What if I paired it up with direct mail? What different strategies can I use? And then you also, LB, mentioned distress, right? When people think about distress, they most often think about the condition of the home, or then, 1B would be finances, but there's so many other kinds of distress that
100%.
people are 100% missing deals. You mentioned not having an area of expertise, wanting
Yep.
to deal with renters.
Right.
Right now, that's huge because,
Major.
baby boomers are getting older.
Yep.
Maybe it's not even a deal where someone has passed on. Maybe they're just retiring and their kids
Sure.
don't want to deal with. I've encountered that a lot. I'm like, these kids could literally be inheriting a fortune, and the
They're like,
person
I don't
who's
want to
the
work.
owner, yeah, is like, no, they're not interested in it. So I'm looking to sell quickly. Like,
Yeah.
you just think about this and you say, wow, look at all these opportunities out there. And then, of course, you've got emotional distress. You mentioned one that is really, I think, hits on home for a lot of people, which is just
Yeah.
not wanting to deal with it. Maybe there's bad memories in there. Maybe it's divorce. Maybe someone passed away that was close to you, and you don't want to have to deal with. Right now, homes are sitting on market, at least in Texas, right? You don't want to have to deal with that whole process. Let me just kind of wipe my hands of this.
100%. And because of all of these things, it's very critical not only to be, because I mean, this is a self-motivated business we're in, like there's no boss standing over you saying, hey, wake up and make those dials. And self-talk is so critical. What you're doing with you to make sure you're in the right mindset and prepared for those opportunities, and more importantly, planting the seeds. Um, knowing that, and knowing that with any type of sales I've ever done, I've
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
made a career out of growing remote teams, people to assist me, extensions of me, so that I can be in more places at one time. So then it's just not about me waking up and making myself do it and on my output. So let's just say I reached out to, let's say it's 100 people a day, and most people aren't even that motivated, but that's 500 contacts in a week, and that's 2,000 in a month. And if you extrapolate that math out, that's how many contacts I've made. But if I start to take a portion of my time and build teams, people to help me, then I can take that number and I can 10x it,
Huge.
times 2, times 4, times 8. And so, like what I've focused my attention on, or at least partially, especially as, a CEO, entrepreneur, life coach, those kind of things. It's like, how do I duplicate myself, saving myself that time, but then also being able to be more present in other areas, taking on some people who may be just getting into the industry. So taking them under my wing where we can do some deals together, kind of thing. I think that type of angle is, so for example, if I'm a new wholesaler and I just went to a course and I just did a 3-day weekend and I paid some money even, and and we're all equal. But then I go out and spend a few hours of my time recruiting a small team. I'm now 3 to 5 times more likely to get there faster than all the other students. And so for me, I think it's important to work on the business side of it as well, like your reach and your own attitude, not just the business, because it's not an easy business. It can be, but there's a lot of rejection, right? There's a lot of money though. And so there's the spectrum. You got $50,000 profits minimum, and then you have nothing, right? So
Yep.
you want to be able to bridge that gap. And I found that the easiest way of doing that is to grow some team members around me.
That's huge. And people oftentimes look at this, and I've said this on earlier podcasts, especially people starting out or even seasoned people, right? What do I need to know? What do I need to know in order to get to the next level? And I actually think this is a mistake. Yeah, you want to be well educated. You want to have the ability to be competent and an expert in your field. But I think more important, definitely for people starting out and perhaps for people who are further along the journey, is networking like crazy and getting that team. And it's different angles, right? So as someone when I was just starting out, I was thinking, why would someone who's an investor want to work with me if I'm just starting out? What do I have to bring to the table? Now that I'm further along the journey and I'm able to see kind of the other side of things, if you're a business owner and you have the opportunity to get relatively low cost labor, someone who's juiced up about the business, they're really excited, they want to learn everything they can, they're super enthusiastic, that's actually very valuable, right?
It's 100%. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And I've been using this new saying, training my agents, going like, I don't have any tattoos. If you got 1,000 of them, great. But it's like, get this tattoo. It's not who you know, it's what you know, and more importantly, strategic relationships.
Huge.
See, the reason why that investor would want to work with you as a brand new person is because it's for the same principle I was just talking about. It's an extension of himself. It's 100 phone calls he doesn't have to make that day. You're going to do that. And he's going to be willing to share in the deal with you because you're bringing value to him. And so, networking like crazy is important because you never know when you're going to find that person who has that opportunity for you. And you'd be surprised at how many people have the willingness. When you achieve a certain level of success, the only real success from that point then is this is like this law of life. It's where, at this point, my value comes from giving to someone else, me
Yep.
helping them to get them, because I needed that opportunity at some point. And then no matter where you are or how successful you are, there's always a bigger table. 100% there's a bigger table. If you're at the $100,000 table, there's $1 million table. And beyond that $1 million, there's $1 billion table. Beyond the $1 billion table, there's $1 trillion table. And then I promise you, it keeps going from there. So it's, where do I start, which is now.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
You said preparedness, and you're never going to be ready. And you're never going to know it all. You're never going to feel like you know everything. You're always going to feel like there's more, or that you're somewhat inferior to the processes. And that's going to happen. It's natural. It's just part of it. There's a quote from Brian Tracy that says, if there's, what's the most important thing you can tell anybody about starting a business? And he goes, start,
Start.
start, go now, because in order to get here, you got to start here. And if you're so focused on learning, by the time you think you got your head wrapped around it, something like AI has changed the game, and what you now learn is now irrelevant.
Huge.
So you lose that time. So you want to jump in early.
I think when people think about scaling, they can kind of see the mountaintop, but then once they get there, you get to this thing, you think you're at the cliff, and then you look up and there's an entire landscape above you. I had this
Yeah.
experience talking with an investor out of Houston, Texas, who got into oil wells. And now he went from real estate to investing in oil. I said, wow, this is like your Texas oil money. This is huge. He's like, you have no idea, Dylan,
Yeah.
what I'm seeing. Like the rooms that I can't get in. He's like, you're involved in oil. There's people who invest in offshore oil, and that's leagues above me.
Yeah.
And so I
Yeah.
was like, whoa,
Yeah.
there's levels to this.
There is levels to it, and jumping in where you can get in. I'm the kind of person who, I could probably say this now. I wouldn't have said it in my career going up, but I've owned every company I've ever worked for. Literally.
Yep.
Once I'm there for 2 or 3 years, I go from, bottom rung to top salesperson to management to, would you like your own location? And, either I left that company or took what I knew and went to the next level, or I started my own and went that route. I think a lot of the willingness to invest your time is more important than, like, don't think of it as money. And some mentorship is worth paying for. 100%. If you can bridge a 10-year gap with an hour-long mentor, wow, why are you not doing this? But if you can't afford it, be willing to invest your time. If I'm trying to get to I heard this. He's an investment banker, and now he teaches companies how to basically buy aged shelf corporations to get started, so they're 3 years ahead of the mark. And what he says, he's like, man, I thought I was at the top of my game until I walked into a room. As soon as I walked in, he said, hey, go get me some coffee. And he's like, so I was delivering coffee that day, So, and here he is in a $1,000 suit. Be willing to invest your time and help somebody else, even if it's getting their coffee, because you will be surprised at what kind of information that you learn next to the table. And those crumbs are very often steak to you. Like, wow, I didn't know that. And then again, it's all about the network. I mean, whether it's that finance guy or referrals is a big deal to me. And because there's always somebody out there with the same type of ambition, and maybe they're going in a little bit different direction in the space, whether it's material. For example, for me, I don't just think real estate, I think construction real estate, right? Because that's our focus for me. It's either building remote teams or it's supplying skilled labor and the cost involved and what all that means. So I look for opportunities for referrals all the time because the guy who's selling the drywall or the guy that's selling the lumber or the material or the guy that's supplying the funding, whether that's hard money lending or traditional bank finance, that guy will kick me back 1% if I bring him that business. So if I'm not directly involved, I can get indirectly involved and I can still get paid. That's one of the reasons why I love wholesaling as just as a way, because it's one of the least the entry to get started. Like, I don't have to go get my real estate license. I don't have to have money. I don't even have to have good credit. I just have to have a little bit of willingness and hustle. I think it goes a long way.
That's 100% true. I mean, when I think about the path of a real estate entrepreneur starting out, maybe this will change, and I suspect that it will because there's seasons in real estate. But I think about kind of networking on the outside, looking in, not sure how to get in, meeting a lot of people, seeing lots of different ways to go about things, hearing all these acronyms, being like, I don't know what's going on, getting your first wholesale deal, doing a couple wholesale deals, getting a fix and flip or a short-term rental, maybe some long-term rentals, corporate housing, and then scaling from there. The sky's the limit. I've seen people go from that to hard money lending to doing all types of commercial deals, industrial.
Yeah.
It's really amazing what can happen from just going to one of these events, right? So you think about the cost. I know for me, when I was selling cars, working at a car dealership in San Antonio, I had no idea about the real estate space, knew nothing. It seemed like a kind of a shot in the dark that I was going to pay a bunch of money to go to an event, but that event absolutely changed my life.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yes, absolutely. And so can one relationship. You should look at those networking opportunities as ways of collecting bridges. In that, if I meet somebody who's in finance and I can get into like a cell phone to cell phone relationship, or if I find somebody who has at their fingertips properties, off market properties that they have this overflow of, what they can't do them all, right? And so I take these bridges, and then when I walk into a room and I'm the stranger, it's like, how do I get instant credibility with somebody? It's like, oh, what do you do? And then if I feel like maybe there's somebody who could take advantage of these properties, take advantage of that finance, I can be like, hey, I know a guy. And then I'm going, hey, John, meet Tom. Hey, Tom, meet John. LB is the reason that happened. And if I do that in that network, if I do that between the lunch, if I do that in the break, if I do that in the hallways, I am positioning as a rookie, as somebody, I'm on the side of the table. It looks like I'm at the table. And eventually you're going to find that you're invited to those tables, because then you can bring your own level of expertise in there, or whatever your focus is. And because the thing is, especially with wholesaling, I would say with real estate in general, particularly in construction, there's enough to go around for everybody. B, you really can't do it all. C, you can pick your poison, whether that's finding the project, whether that's selling the project, whether that's rehabbing the project. Maybe you're a guy that wants to go live in that house for 2 years, and get, and refinance it after a few, whatever that is. You have all of these options. So, A, explore them, and B, don't label yourself and say, like, this is just what I do. try these different things, and you might find that like, hey, this one is a lot better. I like this better. This is more money for me, or this one fits my lifestyle a little bit better. But you should be looking at all of the spokes on the wheel and trying to figure out not only how to learn all of them so you can take advantage of each opportunity as it presents itself, but then, find your niche that way. Don't say, hey, I'm only going to do this one thing, because there's a lot of things out there to do. There's a lot of moving parts. The one I think maybe most untalked about, I was looking through like this show, for example, a lot of construction guys. And oddly enough, I'm not even a construction guy, but I think people would call me that. I've built hospitals, I've built airports, we've built every kind of subdivision, every kind of multifamily. I don't go to job sites. I don't walk those job sites. I'm not there. How do I do that? It's really the program that we built, which is the network of skilled labor. I think that one of the biggest missing conversations in wholesale, in real estate, is not the guy with the idea. It's not the guy who owns the land. It's not the guy who goes, I see one person sees a farm or a field. One person sees a shopping center, right? Sees a Walmart there. But then you got the money. So then there's the guys with the money. It's the private equity. It's the hard money. It's the cash flow guys. It's the four guys from that went to college together, and now they're both attorneys, and that's the money, but they don't have the idea, or they might not have the land. It's like, to me, there's one common equation, and one common denominator in every single equation, which is the labor. It's the skilled labor. It's the cost of skilled labor. It's the availability of skilled labor. You can find a million wholesale deals, but if you don't have the right skilled labor, what are you talking about? You could have a money pit. That's what you could have. You could have something that could put you out of business. That's what you could have. You could have a failing. We were just talking about this yesterday. We're driving to Orlando, and there's a property for $175 million sitting for sale. Giant complex, completely empty. All the windows broke out of it. It's so much concrete. You're just like, because it's just like, if you wanted to demo the property, I have no clue what that would cost. It would take forever. And if you wanted to refurb the property, especially these old, larger commercial structures, if the rust, has gotten so bad in the interior pipes in those concrete walls, you're going to spend more money on the removal, because you can't even repair some of it, than you would be even on the project. That's why it's sitting like that. But we talked about that, how crazy that is, that it's right next to Orlando, and it's just like prime real estate. You're on I-4. It's like right here. What are the costs involved? And I actually wanted to find out about it, because I was like, man, I want to be the guy that demos that property. But when I looked at the whole thing, I'm going, at the end of the day, there's reasons why that's happening to that project. And, skilled labor, the knowledge of that the reason why something might be in a certain state is really half the battle. And knowing what the cost would be to try to fix that kind of thing. And if you were the one that wholesaled that deal, or let's say it's just your property and you're the one doing the rehab, skilled labor cost is going to be the difference of success or failure in that venture, period. And it will be. So I see that it's just a missing part of the conversation. If you're going to get into real estate and you're going to be serious, it goes well beyond your local contractor. I call them a chuck in the truck. Everybody has one. They all look for them, and that's kind of who they rely upon. But if you want to truly scale your business, you're only going to find so many properties and so many zip codes. So if you really want to scale, you want to be able to do a lot of properties and a lot of zip codes. How do you do that when you're in Dallas? It's a lot of airplane rides. The way we approach it, approach the scalability is, again, a lot of remote team building, but it's also a lot of skilled labor relationship building. So if I need somebody I'll give you an example. I don't know how many, I probably have somewhere around 25,000 skilled labor workers in Dallas, Texas. I could have somebody knock on your door probably in 15 minutes. And so that is an advantage for me in wholesale, and should be for you. And so you should be building upon that. So if you have a property to walk in Florida, you want to come to Florida. So, like when you said you wanted to move to Florida and you're like, oh, Miami would be great, but it's going to be expensive. I go, buy a quadplex. There's loans for it right now. Live in one of them for a year. rent the other ones out, Airbnb the whole thing, or refinance it or whatever in 2 years, and then go build you something, buy you something. There's all kind of ways to skin this cat, but in order to do that, like, how do you do that when you don't necessarily have the people that can, build it for you, for example, give you a great price on it? It's like you're always at the mercy of the skilled labor if you don't have A, options, and B, just the relationship in general. You would be surprised how many people in real estate in general have no guy, no groups of guys. And so what happens is they go, I think this is going to be 40,000 to rehab. I think. Or I had a guy come and give me an estimate. Let me tell you how those guys knock blocks off, and they can smell new blood. And so they see this, this rookie who doesn't even know that this is a retaining wall. Yeah, this bathroom, 20 grand. If you knew a guy, 5 grand. Big difference when it comes to the bottom dollar,
Huge difference. This conversation about skilled labor and where this comes into play. I have not had this conversation with anyone who's talked about the interface of this with wholesale and how this could work, but there's so many rabbit holes which we could go down here on this one. LB, we are coming up on time though. Where can folks go to get a hold of you?
The easiest way is probably through our 1-800 number. We do several different things, but our 1-800 number, 1-800-320-0589 is the direct way. We basically do two things primarily. We offer remote opportunities for people who want to get into construction, real estate, sales. So we direct those people to staffingcareerfromhome.com. They apply there, and then we bring them in and show them options where they can really grow in the space on their own time. It doesn't cost anything. They're literally given the tools of the trades and opportunities. And then really from there, we talk about what their goals are, from individuals. But for businesses, we're actually in the middle of a launch right now for something we call Instant Construction Crews. And Instant Construction Crews is basically the entire business that we have built over the last 10 years. 20,000 skilled workers, hundreds of traveling subs. We call them tier one, where I can pick the phone up and order 500 workers in 50 different cities, and I get a yes on the first call. Those relationships that we've developed, they're given in that program. So they get them day one. So when you sign up for that program, all the things that I say are necessary, from having a remote team, like you're a prime candidate, for example. If you said I wanted a remote sales team, I give you a list of 10,000 1099 remote agents that want to learn and work from home. I show you how to market to them to bring them onto your team. We provide a CRM and a workspace for you to work from, to monitor the recruiters that you just brought on, the salespeople you just brought on, and we give you a manageable program that doesn't cost overhead. So we do a profit share with our agents, for example, and that's what I show you. So it doesn't cost you anything to have these people find new properties for you, right? To, call around and make offers for you. Have recruiters looking for construction personnel in the area if you didn't already have them within the database. And we basically give companies that from the first day. That's why we call it Instant Construction Crews. It basically gets a 10-year head start to the construction game when it comes to having a team around you, whether it's salespeople, recruiters, even billing personnel, to having skilled labor at your fingertips. And if somebody's interested in it, you can look up, Catalyst Solutions Global. You can look up staffingcareerfromhome.com. I just say call the 1-800 number. It's the easiest way to get a hold of us. And year round, this is all we do.
LB, thank you so much for coming on the show here today.
Absolutely, brother. Look forward to maybe the next time. And, when you get to Florida, look me up.
Will do.
Thank you, man. Have a good day.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.